Next up, at UFC Nashville, we have a snip, snap, a Michael Scott situation. Sean Woodson has had 3 opponents in 24 hours. 3 opponents in 24 hours. As of right now, or as of, what was this, an hour ago? You texted this to me? 2 hours ago, maybe? As of an hour or two, this new opponent, Denis Buzukja.
Yeah, it was about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah. So as about an hour and a half ago, Denis Buzukja, they officially announced he will be taking on Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson is 9-1 in his career. He's 3-1-1 in his last 5 years, coming off that draw with Luis Saldana. Denis Buzukja, 11-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He is riding a 7-fight win streak into this very short notice UFC debut. Sean Woodson, as we know, he's got great boxing. He's got legit power, and he had that before he moved into MMA. He's very long. He knows how to play that game really well. I don't normally care about reach. Reach is one of the things that people obsess over, an inch, 2 inches. A 3-inch reach advantage is 1.5 inches on each side, right? Most of the time, it means nothing. But Sean Woodson does use his reach really, really well. He's obviously incredibly tall for this weight class, and he knows how to use that reach because of that professional boxing background. People are going to try to take him down, and, there's not the largest sample size in the world, but the guy has an 82% takedown defense. Historically, the knock on him is that he doesn't have a ton of power, but he does have some power. We have seen some of that power, and he is coming off that draw, which was very bizarre, with Luis Saldana, where he was dropped twice, he was taken down, and he landed fewer overall strikes. He's taking on Denis Buzukja. This guy's stepping up on 4 days' notice or something like that. He's a come-forward wrestler. He's got solid striking. He definitely has some guts. He's very tough. His technique is very sound. He's got power as well, and he's got aggressive takedowns that rounds them all out. He's basically Matt Frivola, except more athletic. Very similar styles. His technique's a little more buttoned up. His wrestling seems to be a little more aggressive, but it's a very similar style. And they train at the same gym. Somehow, this Sarah Longo gym, which didn't matter for 20 years. First of all, they had Matt Serra, who I guess technically former UFC champion, even if it was for one fight. That gym didn't matter for 15, 20 years. And all of a sudden, boom, Aljamain Sterling. And now there's just this whole crew of guys that are going out there and doing well. Dennis did have 2 fights on the Contender Series. He won 1, lost 1. One of those losses was to Melsik Bagdasaryan. If you watch interviews, he's insisting he was sick for months heading into that fight. I really want to pick this kid. I want to pick Dennis. For the last opponent that lasted for 6 hours, that guy, I picked that guy against Sean Woodson because that guy had wild leg kicks. That's not really how Dennis fights. I'm not a big Sean Woodson fan. He's all boxing and then takedown defense. There's not much else there. If you stay in his face, if you pressure him, if you can get past that reach, I think you can have a lot of success against Sean Woodson. I think the 4-day short notice, though, the official UFC call-up, I think a lot of that might be a little problematic. And if he doesn't have early success with the wrestling, he may get tired. He may get frustrated. So Sean Woodson's going to be the pick, but very low confidence pick. And the odds are surprising. I expect him to be a much bigger favorite than this. He opened at a minus 245 favorite against the last guy. And then this guy, who actually is a better matchup for him, minus 120. What do you think, Jake? Do you have time to do any research here?
Not as much I'd like to, but I do know that just in watching Sean Woodson, that he is a guy that when he fights, he's going to do really well in a fight that he is dictating the pace, he is dictating the pressure, he is controlling the octagon, he is using that range, he is backing people up, and he's able to just kind of box those type of people. When you get in his face, when you put him against the cage, when you close the distance, when you get the takedowns, when you're doing all those things, that's when he is going to kind of wilt underneath the pressure. And Dennis seems like a guy, from what I've watched, I only watched one fight before the podcast started, but he seems like a guy that wants to move forward. He wants to do the wild stuff. He wants to do the flashy stuff. And unfortunately, I wish that he was just a little bit more technical, because he does do the flying knees and the weird stuff, and on the ground he's taking chances and this and that. And from what I've seen, I'm going to pick him. I got to do more research, but he seems like he can put the pressure on Woodson. And Woodson, I mean, like you said, he got dropped, and there was a lot to be desired. But that was a weird fight too, because that was at the elevation card too. So he looked slow, but a lot of people looked slow that card. And I'm going to pick Dennis right now, but I mean, that's just based off literally 10 minutes of watching a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to pick him. If it wasn't short notice, I'd be all over him. And he probably does win this fight. I debated betting, and I'm like, if I hop on a bet on either side, I'm just chasing something just because I've convince myself there's value. But if we're going only off of Sean Woodson's last fight, yeah, Dennis Buzukja is going to smoke this guy. But also, 4 days short notice. We just don't know. It's just too much uncertainty
And apparently
here.
he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Jacob sent me a screenshot of all his wild
from
arrests. Artem sent it to Jacob, who sent it to me.
Well, he put it in Discord.
Artem put it in Discord, which Jacob then copied it from and then sent it to me. And what was it? Just like all the accusations and arrests of all the horrible shit this kid has done.
Beat the shit out of some teenager, stole his wallet, like beat the little absolute piss out of him.
Was he?
He's
also
a New. I mean, that's
teenager?
Northeast for you. I mean, he's from New York. So.
Was he like a former drug addict and fighting saved his life, or was just kind of a scumbag that also?
I don't know. I just know Artem posted that thing in the whatever with the accusations and should say allegedly. I don't know if he actually did it or not, but that's just the headlines.
Well, they're just pictures. Yeah, I'm gonna read it right now. They're just pictures of when you Google the dude. It's not like it's anything crazy. First headline: Amateur MMA fighter accused of beating teen to a pulp. And then Buzukja was charged with 3 counts of robbery, 1 count of assault in the 3rd degree. The next headline is man arrested for beating man and then stealing his wallet. 19 court documents show he faces 4 counts of robbery and assault. And then there's a whole, somebody said, once people called him out for attacking my disability, he made a complaint against me. What the fuck? I attack Jacob's disabilities all the time. And obesity is a disability, and you make fun of that for me all the time. I should file a complaint.
Go ahead.
I should. I'm not obese, though. Right?
I don't know. When you were walking in before the stream started, I almost said something to you about having a DC body. You look very DC-like these days.
In my defense, we spent the last couple of days at the water park, just eating, floating.
It's always going to be an excuse,
Absolutely
Angelo.
floating. Listen, Sean Woodson is $9,600 in DraftKings. That's locked in because that was his price for his original opponent. They don't adjust that pricing. So Dennis Buzukja might be, we don't know what he'll be. He could be anything because he may end up being the favorite before they establish his price point. But whatever it is going to be better value than Sean Woodson's $9,600. That's for sure. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like. I'm very curious to see what this line does. Literally, these odds dropped about 10 minutes before I made this graphic. What price point would you grab Dennis at? What's your max?
I haven't done enough research. I have no idea. I literally watched 2 rounds of his fights. So
You're very composed tonight. Is because I screamed at you and I sucked the life right out of you?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Okay, there you go. WeOwnPicks.com. Become a premium member as soon as we get the DraftKings pricing on Dennis Buzukja. Pretty cool last name. You will have the full analysis of who you should have in your lineups, who you should not have in your lineups, the ownership projections, and everything else will be available to you as soon as that is available to us. WeOwnPicks.com, $10 a month.